$100 gets you 364 rials here in Doha, Qatar. That will be my budget for the day in one of the richest countries in the world. But just because this country is wealthy, does that make it expensive? Let's find out. Today I'm exploring the modern side, the traditional side, and this massive global tech conference. See, Qatar wants to lower its dependence on oil and gas and build an economy that survives a long time. So let's learn about this economy and see what I can get with $100 today in Qatar. First stop, coffee. Qatar uses the Qatari Rial. Now it's pegged to the US dollar. So $1 is equal to 3.64 Qatari Rial. And that peg matters because it keeps prices predictable and inflation stable even when energy markets swing. But here's the contrast. Qatar is one of the richest countries in the world per capita, but everyday prices actually feel normal. Well, not everything. This iced Spanish latte costs me $10, but I'm in downtown. I'm in a very nice area. If I just go a couple blocks away, I can get a karak tea for $1.50 or $2. You can get a breakfast sandwich for $2 because many workers here earn maybe 2,000 Qatari Rials per month. So even though the currency is quite strong here, everyday life is not expensive. People often think like Qatar is a very expensive country because it's so wealthy. No, that's not really the case. We're gonna find out more as we go about the day. Qatar is spending so much money to bring big events here, and I'm not just talking about the World Cup. So Art Basel is a huge art festival from Switzerland. There's one in Miami, and now they're getting ready to start it in Qatar. This is going to be their first year. There's a lot of buzz, there's a lot of excitement. Also, Web Summit, one of the biggest tech conferences on earth. I'm going to be attending this afternoon, and this is a conference that originated in Dublin, then Portugal, you have it in Canada, you had it in Hong Kong. Qatar bought the rights to bring it to Qatar on a 5-year deal. And so this is already year 3, so we're going to check that out this afternoon. Mishrib is Doha's version of the future. See, you don't see tall and fancy skyscrapers here. Instead, they want it to be more thought out, so the buildings here are positioned to reduce direct sun exposure. So streets are narrow and shaded, like traditional Qatari city design instead of Western grids. I also see that materials are chosen to absorb less heat, which lowers the need for air conditionings in one of the hottest climates on Earth. This district runs on district cooling, smart energy systems, and some of the highest sustainability standards in the region. So there's less wasted power, less wasted space, less wasted movement. After walking a little bit, I come here to Souq Waqif. The contrast here is intentional. Here you see falcon hospitals for birds that are used in racing and hunting. They have markets restored the same way they were generations ago. Spices, textiles, cafes, and courtyards that preserve how Doha used to function. Okay, by now I'm a little bit hungry. So I sat down at a Qatari restaurant, but there's a lot of other kinds of foods like Indian, there's Lebanese food, but I did order something that says it's a Qatari dish. So something that makes Qatar different than Saudi and some of its neighbors is that Qatar's economy is driven by liquefied natural gas, LNG, not oil. It supplies long-term contracts to both Asia and Europe. And this matters because LNG contracts are usually decades long, not spot market bets. So that means government revenue is a little bit more stable and predictable. GDP growth doesn't spike and crash like oil-heavy economies. And even after the boom of the World Cup, Qatar's economy has kept growing because that was a big investment to raise the profile of this country. But it wasn't just because of tourism, also because energy revenues kept compounding. This is fattoush. This is a Levantine salad with tomatoes, cucumbers, herbs, and crispy bread, all tossed in a sharp lemon dressing. The price is $7. For my main dish, I get mal awal. I guess you can think of it like a porridge. The chicken and rice are literally blended together in a thick, creamy mixture. It's kind of like comfort food. Soft, filling, and maybe something you grow up eating here. I'm told it's a Qatari staple. The price is $17, and I get a sparkling water for $3. All in all, this lunch, $27. So $27 for lunch is not cheap, but it's not necessarily super expensive. Remember, I am in a touristy area right now. Here in Qatar, GDP per capita is above $70,000 per person. But the population is small, so that lets the state absorb shocks, fund infrastructure projects, and in general, keep consumer prices here steady. Next, I jump into a taxi to the convention center. The price is $8. And this is where the story shifts. See, Qatar signed a 5-year deal to host Web Summit. That's one of the biggest tech conferences in the world. Now, the exact terms are not public, but deals like this are strategic by design. It's kind of Qatar's way of signaling that it wants founders, investors, startups coming here, not for oil and gas, but for ideas, for capital and talent. But that raises the real question. Can can a country built on energy exports actually reinvent itself as a tech and startup hub? This year, they brought Logan Paul to speak and to try to inspire the 30,000 attendees. They've asked me to interview him on stage. I'll post the full interview in the description. Here at the event, I meet young tech founders.
It's huge. There's no event like it in the GCC. I've seen some startups from really bright minds here that wouldn't be here if it wasn't for such a welcoming environment.
As a Qatari, how do you feel to see such an event here in your country for the third year?
Very proud to see my country is representing these creative people all in one place. Tourism is the best thing in Qatar. When you see very small country and many places that one tourist can visit in very short time, this is the best thing, best combination. And World Cup is good, the football event is good, but all supporting one thing, which is tourism. Even my English is improving because of tourism.
Qatar Vision 2030 is the country's plan to turn LNG wealth into long-term economic stability. It focuses on building non-energy sectors like education, logistics, finance, tourism, and global events. And this is why Qatar invested heavily in things like Education City or the World Cup and now Web Summit. This strategy assumes oil and gas will fund the transition for decades, but the end goal here is a country not dependent on any of that to function. After the conference, I grab another taxi toward the waterfront. I walk along the water past food stands and wide promenades that feel almost a little too calm. I pass by luxury towers, yachts, and eventually I arrive at Al Maha Island. It's famous for all its nice restaurants, and some of which you recognize like Carbone, which is in New York or Vegas. But those locations are slammed. Reservations can take weeks or months even. But here in Qatar, you can just walk in and get a table. Now, that contrast doesn't mean it's better. It probably just means demand is a lot lower here, and that Qatar works hard to bring global brands, hoping that the crowds will show up. The infrastructure is ready. The question is whether the demand will eventually catch up. I decide to eat dinner at this Iranian restaurant called Berenjak. It actually started in London and opened a location in New York, LA, Dubai, and now not one but two here in Doha. This is house rice.
I didn't need to make a
classic
reservation.
Persian basmati rice, light and fluffy. The price $9. This is juje kebab. It's a chicken marinated in saffron lemon, skewered, grilled, juicy, and a bit smoky. The price, $26. This is salad shirazi. It's chopped cucumber, tomato, and onion with lemon juice. Super fresh, super light. The price of the salad is $8.
This area has been especially interesting to me to see how they've been able to pull in these Carbones and Zumas from around the world, from London, New York, and have them here in Qatar. But, you know, when you see just anecdotally, they don't have the volume that you would see in Dubai or London or New York, where you have to make reservations. Qatar is growing kind of slowly, right? They're like slow and steady. They're not trying to do these massive inflow of population and double their population every 5 years. They're being quite strategic about how they grow so that it doesn't become this crowded city where everyone is here to, you know, save money on taxes and have a higher standard of living than their previous country. They're being quite strategic. But I want to know, what do you think? What do you think about the economic story here in Qatar? And let me know where you think I should go next and discover.
So my total for the day is $96, meaning I made it within my $100 budget with $4 to spare.
While you're at it, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one.